Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today we're talking about bananas and how to preserve bananas. Let's say you've got some and they're starting to get ripe. You're not able to eat them fast enough and you don't want to throw them away, so you want to preserve them. So one thing that you can do is freeze them. That's a very easy process to do. 2 ways to go about doing that. Actually, 3 ways. One is you can just take the whole banana and pop it in the freezer just like that. Now this is probably the hardest thing to do, because then when you take it out you still have the task of removing that peel. And I've done it many times like this, and all I'll do is when I go to use it, I'll briefly run it under some water. Doesn't even have to be hot water, just run it under a little bit of water. And then I'll take a knife and I'll peel it with a knife, and then I can slice the banana and do what I want with it. It's really the fastest thing to do when you go to freeze it, but then there's a little more work later on. Or you could peel it first and then put it in an airtight container and freeze it. Or you could put it in a freezer bag, or you could wrap them in plastic wrap and then put them in the freezer bag. The more you wrap it, the less it's going to turn dark on you. So it's good to do that if you can. You could also take your banana, peel it, and mash it up first, puree it in some way, and then freeze it. But if you do that, you definitely want to add something to it that will keep it from turning dark. It could be a little bit of lemon juice, it could be a little bit of orange juice, or other type of fruit juice that you prefer. And that should help. The acid in there should help to keep it from turning dark. If you have some citric acid powder, you could make a citric acid solution with a little bit of water. Blend that in there with your banana before you freeze it. Another way that you could preserve fresh bananas is to dry them yourself. And if you have a dehydrator, you would just simply follow the manufacturer's directions on doing that, but make sure that you treat your banana slices first before you dry them. Treating them, I mean by dipping them in a citric acid solution with water and citric acid, or a fruit juice, lemon juice, orange juice, whatever kind of juice you have that has some acid in there. Even pineapple juice would be delicious. And coat them in that first, dip them in that, allow them to be coated really well, then spread them out on your dehydrator tray and dry them according to the manufacturer's instructions. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can do the same thing in your oven. Slice the bananas thin, pre-treat them with some sort of an acidic juice first, spread them out on a parchment paper lined baking sheet, put them in the oven at anywhere from 200 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. I suggest 225 Fahrenheit, and then allow them to bake in there. And when you see that they're really starting to get good and dry, flip them over and then allow the underside to finish drying. Make sure they're completely dry before you take them out of the oven, or they won't be crispy on you. And then when they're finished, allow them to cool, and then put them in an airtight container. They will keep for you for a little while at room temperature, but my suggestion would be to store them in the refrigerator, and they'll keep longer for you that way. Well, I do hope this helps you out. This is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Bye now.